What's up, guys? One Koala Man here, bringing you episode number 64 of our fairy tale reviews. And in today's episode, we get introduced to the final member of the Oración Seis. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that like button down below. Also, be sure to answer the question of the day and follow me on Twitter, both which will be in the description down below. So, give those a bit of a look. And subscribe if you're new to the channel, because I welcome every single one of you, new and old, to the channel with wide open arms. And with all that said and done, let's get this mother underway. So we start today's episode off with that Urza and Midnight fight. And Urza, she's, still at the same spot as she was before. She's not really getting anywhere with the hits. And then she finally lands a hit on Midnight. So that's pretty interesting. And she's saying there's two flaws to your oh so invincible power that you have. And if you forgot, Midnight's power is like reflector magic, which means he can reflect any magic or any weapons away from him so it doesn't hit him. So Urza was saying that the two things wrong with his magic are that, one, he can bend weapons and he can bend magic at his will to not hit him, but he cannot bend the human body. And if you notice, Urza hit him with her fist and freaking smashed him into a wall. And the second weakness is he can only control one space at a time. So if he controls Urza's clothing to like strangle her, he can't protect himself from like anything hitting him. So he can only control one thing at a time. So Urza exploits that, and she freaking bodies Midnight. And just when you think Midnight's defeat is imminent, of course he has some big scheme on it, like in his sleeve. But anyways, we hear a bell, and he's saying, once the clock strikes midnight, my true powers, come out. So he starts transforming into this giant monster, and it's freaking ridiculous. And it's like some giant genjutsu from Naruto, pretty much. He's like a giant monster. He's like trying to mess with Urza's mind, mess with Jalal's mind. But, after like half a minute of getting tortured, Urza breaks out of this genjutsu type spell and just completely destroys Midnight. And she also says another weakness is that she's not affected by visual magic because, she's got that fake left eye. So kudos to freaking Urza beating arguably the strongest member of the Oración Seis besides the one. So as Midnight's going down, he says his prayer, and what his prayer was to one day find a nice quiet place to finally sleep, because if you remember, he was in the Tower of Heaven and it was always loud and obnoxious and people were probably screaming, getting tortured and all that, and he just didn't like it when he was a kid. He just wanted to find a quiet place to where he can finally rest his eyes. So I guess now he can rest his eyes because he's freaking knocked out. So after Urza finally beats Midnight, we go to the squad, and Natsu and Gray are fighting this staff.
Bruh.
And the staff is actually kicking their butts right now. Now, I really don't like this staff, honestly. This is like a big arc killer, in my opinion. Now, I just don't like it, but it's beating the heck out of them, and then it like stops and says like that all of the 6 keys have been unlocked. So now the guild master of the Oración Seis is finally going to be unleashed. And when he says that, Brain's face starts glowing, like all the markings on Brain start glowing, and then he transforms basically into their guild master, and their guild master is named Master Zero. And Master Zero comes through, and Natsu and Gray feel this immense energy coming off this guy, and instead of being afraid, they're like, oh yeah, I'm ready to fight this guy. But Master Zero is way too much for them. First of all, his first victim is going to be Jura, because Jura's defenseless, so he attacks Jura, but Gray steps in and blocks Master Zero's attack, but eventually Master Zero's attack gets through Gray's shield and bodies Gray and Jura, of course, and then Natsu gets involved, and he tries to hit Master Zero, but Master Zero literally touches him, and Natsu just gets destroyed, and that leaves Lucy and Happy just sitting ducks for Master Zero. And they're just scared senseless. They don't know what the freaking heck to do. So Master Zero helps them out by just destroying them too. And now Jalal and Urza are pretty much the only hope. Well, and Wendy and Carla too. But Wendy and Carla are still trying to find Jalal, but they can't freaking find him in this giant city of Nirvana. And speaking of Nirvana, Nirvana finally makes it to the Kate shelter. And it turns out Nirvana has a giant mother effing cannon right on the front. So poop's really hitting the fan at this point right now. So that is the end of the episode of Fairy Tail. And as always, guys, keep it cool.